As we can see, the issue of migration today has become a top priority in the public discourse of almost every European country, including the United Kingdom. It may seem surprising that a nation which for centuries was known primarily as a country of emigration is now suffering from immigration on its own soil. Back in 2022, the UK Home Secretary Suella Braverman openly admitted that the migration crisis was out of control. The year 2024, meanwhile, will be remembered for massive clashes between native islanders, migrants, and the police. The situation worsens year after year, and all this is happening in one of the most developed and civilized countries in the world. So what exactly is going wrong with migration? Why are so many locals fighting so fiercely against it? How is the government addressing the issue, and what awaits Britain in the future? Often, open-door migration policies stem from economic troubles. Governments use immigration as a source of cheap labor to stabilize their economies. In Britain's case, however, it's hard to say for sure that this was the main factor behind the unprecedented wave of immigration. Since 1997, GDP per capita has grown by only about 1.6% per year on average, roughly half the long-term trend of the previous 50 years. In short, the causal link is debatable, but the results are clear. For decades, Britain accepted migrants, yet annual inflows rarely exceeded 100,000 people and caused no major issues. Trouble began only in the mid-2010s, following the notorious 2015 European migration crisis, which sparked heated debates and a rise in anti-migration rhetoric fueled by Islamophobia and anti-Muslim sentiment. The population of foreign origin grew from 5.3 million in 2004 to 9.3 million in 2018. In the decade before 2018, the number of non-EU migrants surpassed that of EU citizens. Just imagine, migrants from outside the EU are now more likely to obtain UK citizenship than those from within the EU. This imbalance led to far-reaching consequences, including Brexit, protests, riots, and the growing popularity of far-right parties. But here's the question: if the government recognizes the problem and claims to be tackling it, why does the number of migrants keep rising every year? In short, the current situation is the result of an unbalanced migration policy combined with reforms that have undermined both national security and the labor market. Among the contributing factors, Brexit stands out. Before leaving the European Union, the UK's net migration level hovered around 250,000 people per year. After Brexit, that figure has sharply increased. Britain experienced an outflow of skilled workers, most of whom used to come from the EU, leaving thousands of vacancies now being filled by migrants from the developing world. The inflow didn't shrink, it grew, but now it's mostly people from North Africa, Iraq, Afghanistan, and the Middle East. According to the National Statistics Office, in 2022 net migration reached 745,000 people, and by the end of 2023, the number of long-term residents arriving in the UK rose to 1.218 million. And that's only the official data. It doesn't include tens of thousands of illegal migrants entering the country every year. Since 2018, there are estimated to be around 120,000 illegal immigrants, whose maintenance in detention centers costs the government about £4 billion a year. The problem is compounded by the lack of an effective agreement between Britain and France on controlling illegal crossings through the English Channel, the main route by which thousands still reach the UK. So why such a hostile attitude toward migrants among locals? There are several reasons why many British citizens express negative feelings about immigration. First, economic concerns. Locals believe migrants take away jobs, especially in low-skilled sectors. Migrants are often willing to work for lower pay, which drives down wages and reduces job opportunities for British workers. The influx also puts pressure on public services, healthcare, housing, education, leading to longer wait times and lower quality and availability for residents. Second, cultural tensions. High levels of immigration are seen as a threat to national identity, traditions, and cultural values. Many Britons fear losing their sense of Britishness, especially as some migrant groups fail or refuse to integrate, forming isolated enclaves and parallel communities. Third, security and welfare abuse. In recent years, crime rates among migrants, even those who already hold British citizenship, have visibly risen. Naturally, people see this and express their discontent openly. We need only recall the recent events in Southport, which escalated into violent confrontations. Many also believe that illegal migrants exploit the welfare system, claiming benefits while contributing little in return. Still, it's important to note that not all Britons view migrants negatively. The UK remains a multicultural society, and attitudes toward immigration often depend on factors such as age, education, region, and personal experience. Now let's look at it from another angle. Could migrants actually be useful to Britain? Yes and no. On the one hand, they provide cheap labor, which the kingdom readily uses to slow or reverse economic decline. Yet the state offers them no real social mobility, fueling integration problems and, indirectly, higher crime. On the other hand, many of these newcomers lack professional qualifications, meaning they can't truly boost the UK economy. Instead, they drain social resources and exacerbate existing economic pressures. Still, in the short term, economists acknowledge a positive effect migration can stabilize the economy through an expanded labor force. So how is the government responding? Objectively, the situation worsens each year, despite promises by the ruling Conservative Party to bring migration under control. Public frustration grows, spilling into protests, riots, and clashes with police. And the government's response? The British Prime Minister blames the violence on angry citizens, while authorities use force against protesters. There is no democratic consensus for such drastic demographic change. No one voted for this, yet migration policy continues to operate against the will of the people. Despite economic challenges, Britain remains an attractive destination for people from poorer countries, meaning the flow of migrants is unlikely to slow. Tougher immigration measures are being discussed, such as restricting legal entry and deporting illegal and even some legal migrants to Rwanda as a deterrent. The idea is to reduce migration through the real threat of deportation and to discourage further crime among asylum seekers. But so far, these remain only discussions. Meanwhile, new migrants keep arriving on the island. Eventually, every country tightens its immigration policy and decides who to admit into its labor market, and we're already seeing this across Europe. Britain, however, set the bar too high and is now paying the price. What lies ahead for the kingdom is hard to predict, but the situation is clearly worse than elsewhere in Europe. Society is visibly divided, far-right parties are gaining strength, and even Elon Musk recently claimed that a civil war in Britain is inevitable after the Southport unrest. Perhaps that's an exaggeration, but not an impossible scenario. If things continue in this direction, escalation is only a matter of time. Many experts agree Britain's migration policy needs serious reform, or the situation will only deteriorate further. Tell us in the comments what you think about this. What future awaits the United Kingdom? And don't forget to check out our other videos about the migration situation in Sweden and France. Subscribe to our YouTube channel Euroshift.